Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, September 24th, 2020, and we have a little bit of reviewing to do. If we take a look at our schedule today, we're going to review what we did last class, talking about the Declaration of Independence. We are going to explain to you how the test is going to work for next class. We are going to do a test review. I'm going to give you today's assignment, and then I'll give you an attendance question. All very important things. Let's try to mix it up a little bit, though. Instead of doing a last class review, why don't we start off with a test explanation? I told you last class, I didn't know how this was going to go. So I spent some time thinking about it, and there's only one way that we can really do this that is fair to everybody, that ensures that you are going to do your own test, that you'll get your own questions, your own answers, and we'll be able to see how much you've learned over this first unit. So, you don't need a piece of pencil, there's no such thing. You don't need a piece of paper and a pencil right now. All you need to do is pay attention. If you want to take notes on how this test is going to work out next class, feel free. But let's start off. It's next class, that's 28th, Monday, September 28th. September 28th. We are having our test that day. It's our first test. We'll probably have 5 more throughout the year. They'll come after every single unit that we do. The tests will be emailed to you on Monday morning. On the morning of the 28th, I will email them to you. I know that sometimes I've forgotten to email some things and I say, hey, check your email, and then I don't do it. I will not forget. I give you my word, I will not forget. You will have a test in your email on Monday morning. It will be an attachment, so it won't be in the actual email. You have to click on the attachment and then it'll show up. It will have all of the questions for you. Now, you will have all day to complete it. But when I say all day, I mean just all day. It is due by midnight. So those of you who kind of put things off till later in the night, that's fine. But if I don't have your test by midnight, which is 12 o'clock, no dice. You do not get a full grade on your test. So make sure you get your test to me on the same day, on Monday. You can answer however you can. What do I mean by that? If you want to write it out, each answer, take a picture, send it, that's fine. If you want to type out each answer, send it, that's fine. If you want to answer the test, circle it, whatever you want to do, as long as you answer all the questions, totally fine. It is multiple choice, meaning each question will have different answers for you to select. 4 of them. You're going to select the right answer, whichever one is correct. Multiple tests. You will not all get the same test. You're going to have to get different tests. I'll send everybody different tests with different questions. So your test is very important to you. You need to put your name on it, or at least in your email say this is for you, so that I know that you did your correct test. With multiple choice and multiple tests, one thing that's important, guys, is if you don't know an answer, what should you do? If you said leave it blank, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. At least guess, all right? You don't get punished for guessing. If you don't know an answer, it's one of the 4. Take a guess. A, B, C, D. Pick it. Doesn't matter to me. Just take a guess. Maybe you get it right. If you don't answer, you're going to get it wrong anyway. So take a guess. Finally, number 6. Number your answers. Do not just throw down answers in any fashion. I gave you 2 examples. 1, A, 2, C, 3, A. You're numbering your answers. If you decide to just answer it however you want to with just A, C, B, D, A, C, B, that's fine, but make sure you put down the number of the question. If you choose to answer it like this with the actual answer, 1, John Locke, 2, democracy, 3, Thomas Jefferson, that's fine as long as you number your answers. If you print it out and circle each answer, that is great, and take a picture, send it in to me, that works too, all right? As long as I know the correct, that you're answering, you're putting this answer for this question, if that makes sense. Make sure you number your answers. All right. If you have any questions about the test in the next few days or over the weekend, you can still send me an email. I'll write back to you. We'll get everything figured out. But it's very important that you follow these guidelines. I think the most important, get it in by midnight and number your answers. If you just put down like 40 different things and don't number them, you're not going to get any of them right because I don't know which number they will be. Okay? Now, last class review. We're going to sit on down. We're going to talk about the Declaration of Independence and go over that study guide I sent you just to make sure that you don't have any questions about that. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at every question of the Declaration of Independence study guide. But before we do, I want to let you guys know that a good way to think about the Declaration of Independence is that it was basically a breakup letter or a Dear John note to the King of England from the American colonists. If you think about it, they basically said, hey, what's up? We got something we want to tell you. You're a jerk. You've been doing this wrong. You've been doing that wrong. We don't like this about you. We don't like that about you. And for those reasons, we're going to dip out. We are officially free and single. Deuces. And then signed it. It was basically a breakup letter. The colonists were breaking up with the King of England, King George III. So when you think about this later on, and when we talk about it later on in the year, remember that the Declaration of Independence was a breakup letter. They were declaring their independence or their freedom, the same way you would in a breakup letter. Now, let's go through these question by question, in at least 1 through 12 anyway. The short essay question, everybody had a little bit of a different answer. That's totally fine. But any questions that you guys may have had will definitely clear up right now. So number 1, the preamble or introductory paragraph states the reasons the delegates wrote the Declaration as a formal document. What was that specific reason? We talked about this in our notes. They wanted to explain the reasons why they were separating. They wanted to tell the whole world why, and not just say, hey, we're done, we're declaring independence, and not explain it. They wanted to explain the reasons why they were doing this. Number 2, what truths in the second paragraph are self-evident? I believe it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Very famous line. So if you said all men are created equal for number 1, and number 2, that they are endowed with unalienable rights, endowed, not undowed, endowed with unalienable rights, you got that correct. Number 3, according to the Declaration, where do governments get the power to rule? They get it from the consent of the governed. That means the people who are being governed give their consent or give their okay to be ruled. Number 4, what does the Declaration say people can do if the government abuses power? This goes back to John Locke in social contract theory. They say that the people can alter, which means change, or abolish it, which means to get completely rid of it. Number 5 says, list one specific way the king made it difficult for colonial legislatures to meet. He called them at unusual places that were distant and uncomfortable, meaning the American colonists wanted to attend these legislative meetings, but they couldn't because they were so far away or in really random places. And the king did that on purpose so that they wouldn't attend. Number 6 says, what is one complaint that the colonists had about the king with regard to laws? The first few in the list of grievances were all about laws. You could have said he has refused his assent to laws, or he has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, or he has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people. Any one of those would have worked. Number 7 lists 2 specific complaints the colonists had with regard to the British Army. That was found on the 3rd page that I showed you guys. And again, there were plenty of these that you could have said. Most of you had said for quartering large bodies of troops among us. We're talking about the Quartering Act. That was a very good one. Another one that you guys had talked about was saying he has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. And finally, he has effected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. Number 8 says list 2 additional specific offenses not already mentioned that were committed by the British government according to the Declaration. And here you could have said any other of the grievances that they listed that you haven't already put in number 7 or 6. So there was about 17 to 25. Any one of them would have worked. It was totally up to you. Number 9 says, according to the Declaration, what attempts had the colonists made to solve their problems with the British government? And that was found on the last page, where they say things like, in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. They also say that they nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. So there are plenty of things in those last few paragraphs that could have gone here for number 9. Number 10 says, what does the Declaration state regarding political ties to Great Britain? The answer is that they are totally dissolved. And what does it mean when something dissolves? Yeah, it goes away. So they're saying we are no longer tied to Great Britain. We have nothing that ties us together. Number 11 says, according to the Declaration, what powers does the United States have as free and independent states? There were 5 things you could have put here. 1, levy war. 2, conclude peace. 3, contract alliances. 4, establish commerce. Or 5, anything else necessary. And then finally, number 12, what do you think is the significance of the delegates' signatures? This was an opinion question that says, what do you think? But the significance has been said in the past that it was able to show that all of the colonies were united, that it wasn't just one person or one colony declaring independence, but that everybody was in favor of this declaration. I hope that explains the study guide for the Declaration of Independence. If you guys have any questions about any one of those answers, go ahead, as always, feel free to email me. I'll get back to you ASAP. Now, for today, we have talked about our test explanation. We have done our last class review. Test review is what we are working on today. We are going to review for the test. How are we going to do that? I have sent you a study guide. Some of you have already seen it in your email, I'm sure, but I sent you one this morning. It is a study guide that I want you to try to complete. I want you to try to do it at first without looking at any of your notes in any of the other videos. This should be a good guide to see how much you actually know without having to look something up. Answer every question that you can without looking back at any notes or any videos. And then, once you're done and you've answered all the questions that you can possibly remember the answers to, go back to your notes, go back to the videos, and get the answers for the other study guide questions. That is your assignment today. I want you to complete the study guide. Same thing as always, however you want to complete it and send it back in to me, totally fine, but that's your assignment for today. Normally a study guide is just something to help you, but I really want to make sure that you guys do this and are prepared for our test since it's so weird and going to be such a weird situation on Monday. So, study guide is your assignment today. All right? The attendance question, going to be very simple. I want you to tell me what we are doing next class. What are we having? I don't even care. I'm not even going to hint at it. All right? Next class, we all know we are having a test. It is our Unit 1 test. That's your attendance question. I need you to know that we are having a test on Monday. Okay? Email me that answer as soon as this video ends. Like always, think I've said it 12 times now. If you have any questions, I am here all day long. If you have any question on the study guide, holler at me. I will help you out with it. Don't just email me, hey, mister, what's the question, or what's the answer to questions 1 through 20? Put some work into this. But if you have questions, if you can't figure out an answer, email me. I'll get back to you ASAP, all right? Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Cannot wait for this Monday. You're going to do great. Knock it out of the park. Any questions, I'm here. I'm your biggest cheerleader. Let's do this. Test number 1 going to be down the drain. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you on Monday.